In light of word coming out about the Prince Rupert Regional Hospital's current situation that has seen physicians leave and their emergency department be closed down several times, a story has emerged about what would be a nightmare medical scenario for anyone. Prince Rupert resident Tish Lozier recently spoke to CFTK in an interview about a very scary situation involving her husband.
So Joe started having seizures in bed at 6 o'clock in the morning. Our first round up to the ER was terrible. The ambulance showed up, told us they would have to take him to Terrace because our emergency room was closed. Took us a little while to get Joe into the ambulance. By that time, it was probably close to 7 o'clock, and they said, the ER here in town is going to be open at 8. Do you want to stay here and wait for the ER, or do you want to go to Terrace?
The couple decided to remain in Prince Rupert to try and get him seen as fast as possible, but Tish's husband Joe was released after what she called the bare minimum of work being done, like x-rays and some pain relief. But that was not the end of their medical situation for that day.
We went home. He had another seizure moving from the car to the house and did a header into a cement block. He got a big laceration on his head. It was pretty severe, right down to his skull, bleeding everywhere. Called 911 again, and they told us that there were no ambulances available. I asked for other kinds of assistance to get him into the car, RCMP, fire rescue, something. And they said they didn't know the service agreements in town, and they weren't sending help.
Eventually, Tish needed to get help from a couple of neighbors to get Joe to the hospital again, and while he was treated right away for his gash and seizures, he was not admitted again due to a reported lack of beds and staff. They also made a third trip to the hospital later that same day with Joe vomiting and showing some other concussion-like symptoms, but for a third time he was not admitted to stay for a while. While Joe is seemingly doing okay right now, Tish is encouraging others who experience this kind of situation to get their stories out publicly so that something can be done about it. North Coast MLA Jennifer Rice was able to give a recorded comment about this particular incident.
I think that was just tragic what happened, what unfolded for them. And, I spoke with Tish, and her husband, Joe, was recovering, so I didn't speak with Joe. But not only was Joe physically injured subsequent to his seizures, but also just the emotional toll on people, on both him and his wife. I think it's just really unfortunate. My heart broke for them.
Prince Rupert Mayor Herb Pond also released a similar statement expressing his concern over the ER closures as well as empathy for those affected by it, while assuring residents that work is being done to fix it. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Cael Maslin.